Hey, what's up, phone lovers? Welcome to the Mobile Roar podcast for the week of May 13th, 2015. I'm Joe Fidua.
What's up, guys? I'm Chris Chavez.
And for the last time,
Uh-oh.
I'm Kevin Krause.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's the last time we're going to hear the intro in that order because we've got Kevin's last episode. If you didn't listen to the very end last week, this is Kevin's last episode. He's going on a Forrest Gump adventure across America on his bike. And to fill in for Kevin, we've got a fourth member this week, Ashley King. For those of you that don't know Ashley, she writes for Wii U Daily and a couple of other gaming sites that are in our network, like our sister sites. And she actually used to write about Windows Phone with me at WinSource. So she knows a thing or two. Say hello, Ashley.
Hey guys, happy to be here. I'm sad that it's because Kevin is leaving, but you know.
Well, someone's got to fill in and fill Kevin's shoes.
They're big shoes, literally.
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah. Tallest
Try my
team in
best.
tech. So, yeah, it's a bittersweet episode saying goodbye to Kevin, saying hello to Ashley, but we'll get through this, guys. So we'll get through it together. I guess you consider this Ashley's training episode. Kevin's going to show her the ropes.
Right. Follow my lead.
Yeah. All right, so we have some cool stuff to talk about this week. I think the biggest story this week was probably Verizon buying AOL for $4.4 billion. Yes, billion with a B. Did anyone think AOL was worth that much for one?
No, I mean, what do they? There's something that they have that's valuable, though, right? Like their advertising.
I mean, they have a bunch of tech blogs and things that are pretty valuable in terms of audience and stuff, but I think their dial-up business is pretty dinosaurs by now.
Dial-up business that exists anymore?
No, there is. It's still
Yeah,
going on until like I think this year, like next month, it's finally gonna shut down. But they have like over like 1 million people still using it. It's crazy.
That is bonkers.
Yeah, I think their biggest thing that they have. Do they still own the Huffington Post? Is that like their?
Yeah, they own the Huffington Post, TechCrunch,
yeah,
Engadget.
Yeah, so they've got a lot of. Oh, so is that a conflict of interest now that Verizon owns the company that owns like Engadget?
Yeah, that's the big question that everyone and like in our world was talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what? The real big part of this is now Shingy is a Verizon employee, I guess, right?
Who?
Shingy, AOL's digital prophet. You know that really weird looking guy, David Shing.
I actually don't know who you're talking about.
No, that's so random.
Yeah. Just look up. You got to look at a picture of Shingy if you've never seen him. Just for
I wouldn't even know how to spell that, man.
It's like SHINGY, but he's just the goofiest looking guy, and he's a digital prophet.
Oh, Shingy AOL. Yeah, like it immediately came up.
Oh my dear lord.
this.
Yeah, everyone go Google that immediately.
Oh, a digital prophet. I thought you were saying like something different. Oh my. What does that even mean?
That's his job. He's
all right. Well, I guess now I know either worth 4.4 billion. They got that
Dude,
guy.
this is awesome. This guy is the coolest guy I've ever seen.
I wonder if the digital prophet predicted this buyout would happen.
If not, they should fire him because I mean he's the prophet.
They can't let him go.
So I'm sure we all had. Maybe not. Did any of you guys have AOL back in the day?
I did. I had it. I had it right up until I got onto broadband. But I remember. Does AOL still have any business at all where they send out discs to install their software? That's what we used to do. My family for a while before like the internet was like a must-have thing. When you couldn't really justify the expense of it for the longest time, we just would live AOL trial to AOL trial. It would just be like 30-day span. You know, because back in the day, like you didn't, need internet all the time, so you could be on the internet for like 14 days at a time. Like I don't know, little trials.
Those were awesome. Those were the days. I mean, I would just use a trial and then go in the chat rooms and just talk with hot babes.
Oh yeah. Well, what you thought were hot babes.
Yeah, it totally wasn't.
Maybe Chris was getting catfished before it was a thing.
Yeah, but even after like AOL itself stopped really being a big thing, I mean, Instant Messenger AIM was still huge for years after.
Oh my god, I used AIM up until like 2009 or 10, I think.
Yeah. I only recently abandoned mine.
That's crazy. Yeah, the discs thing is funny. I don't remember which site I read this on, but they ranked the like most free hours you could get discs. There was one that was like 1,000 hours or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, those were the good ones.
Those are the good ones. See, I never had AOL, so I don't really know how all that worked. Like, how did you get those discs? They just sent them out at random?
Yeah, they sent them in the mail to everybody. Like, they show up, and they would come in crazy packaging, like tins and wooden boxes and things. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But was it just like a complete crapshoot of, if you would get the 1,000-hour one, for example?
I'm not sure how you got the 1,000. I think we got one of those one time, and I was like so ecstatic. But I think like you bought a specific magazine, bundled inside the magazine, they'd have like an AOL disc, and me and my brother would go to like Barnes and Noble, and he'd like crack them open and try to like steal the AOL discs. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, they did used to put. I remember when it was floppy. I think I even had a few AOL floppy disks at some point.
Oh man,
these are like the tech stories that we'll be telling grandchildren and stuff like that. Like, yep, your old Uncle Chavez or whatever was trying to steal discs at Barnes and Noble. They'll be like, wait, what's Barnes and Noble?
He was selling them out of the trunk of his car.
When I was your age, I could only get on the internet for 1,000 hours. Before.
Yeah, I mean that is crazy though. I've literally been connected to the internet. And for like last century, it feels like.
And the whole other thing about AOL was just dial-up in general. I mean, especially I used to be envious of my friends who had like 2 landlines, so they could be on the internet and talk on the phone at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, it's so weird to think about. Like, you would get like an AOL disc just to like send a couple of emails or do something online real quick. But like now, it's like we're constantly tapped to the internet. Like
now we wish that we could only be on the internet 8 hours at a time.
And how did we wait for like 28.8 download speeds? Like, how did we load like websites? Like,
gosh.
Websites were nothing but text back then.
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there was still like, I don't know, you would go online and look for naughty pictures and stuff, and it would take maybe like 30 minutes to load a one. And you'd like check back on it, like you'd go like make a sandwich and you'd come back and you're like, oh, it's almost done. Yeah, you get all like excited, but so ridiculous.
So now Verizon owns all that.
Now Verizon owns all of that.
A little late. I mean, actually, just right on time because I mean, what were they worth back then? That's actually
that's a good question. Actually, they must have been worth a shit.
They were the internet. I mean, that was.
I never understood why they never tried to have a broadband offering. Like they never really made any attempt to get into broadband.
Yeah, maybe.
It's probably just another example of a company getting passed by with the times, not realizing something that's coming up is going to catch on.
Yep.
Whatever. Yeah. So Verizon owns AOL. Who knows if we'll ever even talk about that again on this podcast?
Exactly.
So some of the smaller news this week, Google, they got those self-driving cars, and they released a report that they've been in 11 accidents in 6 years, and I guess they said pretty much all of those accidents have happened inside cities, and I don't know, it doesn't sound like that big of a deal to me, really. 11 accidents in 6 years.
Yeah,
like
is that
nothing?
Is that like is that statistic supposed to be good or bad?
Well, people were freaking out. I remember my girlfriend came and she's like, "Did you know the Google car got in 11 accidents so far?" And like in her mind, she's thinking like 11 accidents. There was blood everywhere. People died, and like
Yeah.
it was
But
really
how
horrible.
many of those accidents were actually the Google car's fault?
Yeah.
Zero.
Zero, exactly. That's the other thing I forgot to
That's the
mention.
crit, and it was all over like Facebook, and like I know my mom probably read it somewhere, and this and that. Like everyone is like, it's so frustrating because the headline was Google car gets in 11 accidents, and like since it's been on the road or something, people are like, oh, I told you they're dangerous. They're so dangerous, and it's like you guys didn't even read the freaking articles.
Yeah, and it was all, none of them were the Google car's fault, and like I said, they were all in the city, and it sounded like they happened in like times when you sort of need to be a little aggressive when you're driving. Like, for example, if you're in a really busy cross section and there's people just crossing the street and it's a constant stream of people, a human knows that if you're going to get through that stream of people, you kind of just have to edge out.
Start nudging
You
your
have
way.
to be like, okay, I have to go. A robot car is just going to sit there and let people go forever and ever and ever. And I don't think one of the accidents was in a situation like that, but that's just kind of an example of something where a computer doesn't really know how to drive like a human.
Yeah, it said 8 of them. I think it was 8 of them were rear end. Someone rear-ended them. So like that was like the majority. It was just someone bumped into them because they weren't paying attention. But like I forget what the other ones were. But that's pretty dang good. They traveled 1 million miles. Like 1 million miles.
I'd want to see like
That's not bad.
I want to see comparative statistics for how many if you could somehow, how many accidents would cars with rate, is that a higher rate of accident or a lower rate of accidents comparative?
Yeah.
So,
Does a human even travel 1 million miles in their lifetime? I mean, that's a lot of driving.
yeah, I mean, I've been in a few
when you
accidents.
Sorry.
What? No, I was just saying I've been in a few accidents, and like, I mean, I think I can expect everybody probably gets in an accident or two, whether it's their fault or not. So, I mean, 11 accidents in 6 years across how many cars and how many miles seems like something that's actually pretty successful. But I guess I can see why it's a headline, because part of this driverless car idea is that they need to be safe, but also that they have the potential. They have the potential to be more safe than cars with drivers, because they theoretically could be programmed to be more efficient and more smart.
Yeah, and then you see the headline and you're like, well, I haven't been in 11 accidents in the last 6 years. So, but a normal person, like Chris said, has not driven 1 million miles in the last 6 years. When you get a car over like 200,000, that's considered insane right there. So it's driving it a lot in 6 years.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, people exactly. You read the headline, you're thinking it's like one of their cars is just bumping around everywhere, and all these accidents, and it's just it's stupid.
But hey, that's why those articles on Facebook get so much clicks.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
So ads. You guys like ads? Everybody likes ads, right?
Love ads.
Pretty awesome.
Ads are the best. What are you talking about?
How about ads in Blink Feed?
That sucks.
There's another scary Facebook title for you. HTC is putting ads in Blink Feed.
Freak out. Everyone flip out.
What's the actual story behind that, Chris?
They're just getting kind of like sponsored ads and stuff like that. So it's not going to be too much different from the way Twitter handles it, but I mean, it's clear HTC needs to monetize like their stuff in different ways, because I mean their phones aren't selling so hot. I mean they're trying to do different things by like introducing software that works for iPhone and across other Android devices. So it looks like they're clearly trying to make money in other avenues, and this is just one of the way they're going to do it, because there's tons of money to be made in ads. So you could be seeing ads just kind of make their way into Blink Feed, which to me isn't like a huge deal. Like ads don't really bother me unless they're like super intrusive or a pop-up ad or just using up my CPU or something weird. But yeah, these are just like kind of like the standard Twitter, Instagram type ad things. So not
It
as
is weird,
big a
though,
deal.
because I mean it's kind of like putting ads in the actual OS.
Yeah, I mean it's borderline. Yeah, it's like it's kind of encroaching into that, and I mean like Right now, the way HTC's Sense 7 kind of their home screen has like those like recommended apps, so they're kind of already doing that. So like you'll have that folder that like is supposed to just show you applications when you need them, or like shows you like based on location and all this other stuff, or based on what you're doing. It'll be like, hey, have you tried Instagram? And the little icon will pop up. But it's similar to that. I mean, you can already see them kind of in that direction. So. I mean, HTC they got to do something. They got to pay the bills. So
Yeah. I don't know.
It doesn't bother me as much as it's bothering a lot of other people, but yeah.
Well, it bothers people before it even happens. And, you know, people just hear the word ad and they're like, no.
I mean, like, this stuff is just kind of, and ads aren't that bad. I mean, I had that lock screen app back in the day that just showed you ads, and they gave you like a penny every time you like unlocked your phone or something.
What?
So, like, yeah, Lock It. It was called Lock It. It was awesome. I think I made a couple bucks off of that.
And the Kindle, doesn't the Kindle have ads?
Kindle does that, yeah. On their lock screen, and they subsidize the phone a little bit. I mean, ads aren't bad. Ads only annoy me when they're like ugly, or they're like just something completely irrelevant. But like other than that, I mean, like stuff like I don't mind seeing like a Daredevil ad show up. I'm like, oh, Daredevil, yeah, I love that. Love that show.
The thing with the Kindle is, though, if you buy one with the ads and you decide that you don't like them, you can actually pay to remove them. So I wonder if HTC will do something similar with BlinkFeed.
Ooh, that would be interesting to see.
That would be my question. Is their goal to subsidize the cost of the phone through these ads, or are they just trying to make money off of these ads?
Yeah, they're just trying to make a little money off, little side money off of this.
See, then that I understand. Like, honestly, if I saw ads in BlinkFeed, it really wouldn't bother me because, like you said, like I think the Instagram implementation, even on Twitter, ads on Twitter, things like that, the promoted content, that doesn't really bother me. But the one thing I would take issue with is just the fact that you already are paying X amount of money for the phone. Like you have an experience that isn't going to have all these ads.
Well, I mean, BlinkFeed has always been kind of weird in the way it works. They have like only specific sites and text sites that you can like follow on there and stuff. I think now that you can add RSS feeds or whatever, but so it's always been kind of, I wouldn't say sponsorish, but like very curated. So it's not that big a deal. Like ads like that don't really bother me, but I mean, a lot of people have a huge issue with it, and it's like not hard to just download a third-party launcher. I mean, that's like the easiest thing you can possibly do and get rid of it altogether. So as long as it's not baked into the OS and not getting notifications of ads and stuff like that, then I'm okay with that.
I'd be interested to know how many people that have HTC phones actually use BlinkFeed.
A lot. It's like a really nice feature. Everyone I talk to that like is a fan of HTC, they always like rave about how much they like BlinkFeed. There was actually Android forums post the other day about how you can use a third-party launcher but still get access to BlinkFeed using a shortcut, and people like it a lot. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I liked it. I like it on the 1M9. The implementation is nice. So.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, so I mentioned that Ashley writes for Wii U Daily, and so I think it was just meant to be that she's on this podcast now because like Nintendo was in mobile news this week, which never, ever, ever happens.
Yeah, it's like hell freezing over.
So Ashley, why don't you tell us a little bit about Nintendo's kind of mobile news?
Well, it's kind of like you said. They've been really, really resistant to mobile. Haven't really wanted to break into it, but they recently announced a partnership with a Japanese mobile firm called DNA, and they finally broke Nintendo down. They're like, yeah, okay, you can use our properties to make games. They're going to have 5 Nintendo games on smart devices.
Yes.
And there's no details on what those games are, but from what we've seen released on the Nintendo 3DS so far, they're probably going to be like match 3 games featuring Pokemon or some of their other little properties. I don't think we'll ever see a Mario game on a mobile device unless it's like an endless runner, like
I was about to say that.
Temple Run or something.
Yeah. Super.
They had an endless runner for Sonic, so maybe they'll go that way.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at Sonic, they have ported the old games. I don't see why Nintendo would be so apprehensive to port some of the popular Mario titles over officially.
They won't do it.
I mean, that might be something that they pursue too. It's not anything that they've announced, but emulators are really, really popular on Android.
That's the thing. Emulators are so popular. If Nintendo was really smart, they would know.
They would have done that a long time ago,
Yeah,
but they
a long time
haven't
ago.
because they're so against it. I don't know why, but they're just incredibly against it. I mean, the
Everyone
G1
wants
days,
it.
you could have had the original Mario title on there, like the 8-bit Mario running around on there. The phone was more than capable of running it, but Nintendo just never wanted
It's
to
a
do it.
platformer game. Phones are great for platformer games.
I know.
I think their primary concern has been defamation of their business because
Yeah.
a lot of mobile
Pride
games
thing.
come with predatory practices, and they don't want to be. I don't know. They don't want to do that. Pokemon Shuffle is one of the games that they have on Nintendo 3DS, and after you spend $30 in that app, you can get everything. Like, you can't spend any more money. They won't let you.
That's kind of awesome.
So it'll be
good.
interesting to see their free-to-play approach if they take that same approach.
Yeah.
That's crazy. They should really put a cap on just, I think, in-game purchases or whatever, in-app purchases on like the Google Play Store, because I've seen so many that are $100. The highest tier is like $100. Like,
I think the highest I've seen is 139.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you think those games like Clash of Clans and how do you think those games make so much money? Because they don't have any limits. People just go crazy.
I mean,
People treat them like slot machines and just keep.
just keep spending money and whatever.
Yeah,
but-
wasn't there a website that wrote something about that? How like mobile games are basically using the same formula as slot machines.
Yeah, they're basically a Skinner box. I mean, you get rewards every time you hit the button and spend some money and see if you win this time.
Yeah. They'll never get me. I love playing free-to-play games because I just take it as a challenge to beat the game and never spend
To
a
see how
dime.
much you could do without spending. Yeah, I do that too.
There's certain ones that I've played that I won't spend any money on, but I have admittedly been tempted to spend some money in a free-to-play game. Especially I was recently have been playing Hearthstone, and I've spent more money than I care to actually admit buying cards for that game.
Oh man, they got
It's a
you.
little bit different though. I mean,
Yeah, that I can understand. I can understand buying things and then it stays with you in your account forever. You know, it's not like these disposable items like in-game items and stuff. That stuff drives me insane. Or like those
yeah,
crystals.
where you like buy lives in Candy Crush or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that no.
Oh yeah, that's
Buying the beat the game. Like you spend money, just beat the game, basically.
There's ways to do it and there's ways to not do it, and I think like there's very few games, mobile games that do it right. But like it's.
Hey, but
I mean, no matter what, you'll still see reviews in the Play Store. Even if it's just like they give you the first level free, and it's like, oh, the rest of them you got to pay for. Like people will be like, oh, it's only a demo, and they'll give it 1 star. Like I see that all the time, and like it's so frustrating. So I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it is very frustrating to I would rather pay the money up front and get a complete game. And I mean, I think there's even games now that are doing both. Like, there are things that'll ask you to pay up front and then still give you the option to like pay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
On the back end.
Wind Up Night was kind of like that. Like if you could beat the levels, you didn't have to pay anything. But if you got frustrated and wanted to skip a level, you had to pay.
Wind Up Night was a good game. That was one of the very first games I ever played that offered like to buy stuff.
Yeah.
After you had the free game.
They did it well. To me, it's just the triple currency games that really. Every single time I see that, I just know like.
There's always crystals or something that's real money only.
Every single time.
See, I'm not opposed to like watching some YouTube videos to get some free credits or whatever they hand out in those kind of games. They're always like sign up for a free trial and get 30 crystals. Like,
I think Crossy Road does something like that.
Yeah, it does. You
download this app or game and get like 5 crystals, and I download it and immediately uninstall it. But yeah.
Or sometimes you can just trick it and like visit the page and then
go
go back and
go through with it.
Yeah, there are ways. Don't spend money, people, on stupid stuff.
Joe knows it's his challenge.
But
anyway,
anyway,
another podcast, Frugal with Joe. Yeah.
But taking it back to Nintendo just for a second, I mean, I just think like when will Nintendo learn like to stop resisting new technologies and just embrace them? Like they didn't embrace CDs. They didn't, they didn't embrace HD.
They've still not embraced Blu-ray. I mean, the Wii U disc is technically a Blu-ray, but they didn't license Blu-ray technology, so you can't put a Blu-ray in your Wii U and play it.
It's so frustrating to see like a company that has such awesome properties and all this stuff, and I love them. Like if Nintendo made a Nintendo theme park, I'd be like the first one in line to go there. But like
they're gonna do that.
It's so frustrating to see them like just to see them like their business like decisions just drive me insane. They always have. I mean, it's really really horrible.
The answer to when will they learn is when it's too late, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's how most people learn.
Yep.
They'll be like AOL, still selling discs when everyone else is on broadband.
They're gonna sell Mario for $4.4 billion.
Mario's worth that. I don't know if AOL is worth that, but Mario's worth it.
I'd be so happy to play a Mario game with PS4 on the PS4 with PS4 graphics with all my PS4 friends.
So really, what you want
Mario
is
game on your phone before you have it on the PS4.
Yeah,
I can tell you that.
Baby steps. Baby steps.
All right, so Windows Phone is Windows Mobile again. I don't know if you guys saw this.
Microsoft, make up your mind.
What are they doing? That drives me nuts.
It's going to be called Windows 10 Mobile. Ugh.
What? I thought the whole point of the whole Windows 10 thing was that everything was just Windows now. Like they just unified.
Yeah, they have been calling it. What were they calling it? Windows 10 for phones, I think, is what they had been calling it up until like today when I saw this article. And I guess now it's Windows 10 Mobile, which is a huge step back, I think. Windows 10 for phones is better than Windows 10 Mobile.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's because they probably have tablets and stuff coming out too, so they can't really just call it phones. So yeah.
Why would
phablets?
Just when you think Microsoft is being smart and like rebranding Internet Explorer, which is good because everyone knows what Internet Explorer is crappy, and then just like everyone knows Windows Mobile was kind of crappy, so why would you use that name again? It's not smart.
Yeah, it's weird.
Did you guys ever see that new Microsoft Edge logo?
No.
Doesn't it look like Internet Explorer?
Yeah, it does, which was like I love that they changed the name and everything, but then they used a logo that's almost identical to IE. It's like, what are you doing?
It does. It looks just like the IE logo.
Yeah.
The difference. I mean, because people, I get it. Because when people they're like, I need to go on the internet. Where's that little E logo?
The E to them, yeah.
Where's that dang little E icon? Like, oh my God, there's no E icon. People are flipping out. I mean, it's like when Google, rebranded the Android market into the Play Store, and people couldn't find it on their phones. They're like, well, I guess I don't have the Android market anymore. Never even knew about it. But yeah, so I mean, they had to really. They really, really did. And
yeah, I guess
the Edge name kind of bothered me too. But I mean, yeah, I guess they had to stick with the E.
Yeah. All right. So you guys hear about this Facebook Instant Articles?
Facebook Instant Articles? No.
Yeah. So apparently, Facebook says that it takes like 8 seconds to load an article that you click from the timeline. Mm-hmm. And so they're preloading articles now in like a special viewer, almost like a readability type thing, where it doesn't take you to the actual website. It takes you to like a themed reader of the article, but yet the website still gets like ad revenue and stuff from it. But it loads in less than a second now, and that's why they're calling it Instant Articles. I just thought it was interesting because so many people now are getting news just from Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, Facebook and Twitter. Deal. Twitter, Facebook, all these social networks and stuff. And then when Twitter started doing, was it like those little news snippets? You click the little article or the little tweet, and then it shows you like the first paragraph or something. That was pretty cool. But that's interesting. That's actually a pretty cool little move. I almost wouldn't be opposed to like a Facebook app that just had like a kind of like a news type deal like that, like an RSS feed or something, and 1 second loading of articles. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I just wish the Facebook app in general wasn't so crappy. I actually uninstalled the Facebook app for Android, like I think probably a couple months ago now. I've just been using Chrome. I just have a bookmark on my home screen, and I really have no need for the app.
You mean you're not using the Facebook Home Launcher?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm using Home Launcher, of course, and Home Lock Screen. I mean, you can't go without those, but not the app.
Is there still a home lock screen? I actually liked that a lot. The home lock screen was awesome, but that was back in the day. I think people are too hard on Facebook. I think they do really cool apps. They're trying, except for their actual Facebook app is where they kind of drop the ball.
You guys know how much I love Facebook Messenger.
They're breaking me down, man. I waited so long to install Messenger, but I finally did it. And the other thing I hate about Facebook and news is I refuse to click on stuff in Facebook just because I feel like it's if it's a suggested post or I refuse. I'm like
an ad.
I'm not clicking this, but then I'll open Google and I'll just search for it, so I don't.
Yeah. Oh my God, I used to always do that because
I do that.
For the longest time, I feel like you would click on something and then it would always ask you to sign in with Facebook to read the article or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, screw that.
They're weird. They're weird. Oh, yeah. I mean, right now, my major frustration is the videos that are native Facebook videos, and they're those viral ones. And I kind of like that Facebook is bringing back all these viral videos, whatever. And some of them I haven't seen, so I'm like, oh, that's freaking hilarious. And my mom's not on Facebook, my sister, so in order for me to send it to them, I have to physically search for that video on YouTube, and it can take forever because you have no idea. What do I even search for? Dog does backflip, and you get a million on YouTube. It's so hard, but yeah, that's hilarious.
So our last bit of quick news here is that the Samsung Galaxy S6 Active leaked, and I think we all pretty much expected that there was going to be an active version of the S6.
Yeah, Rob, right when the S6 was announced, Rob wrote up a post that we probably shouldn't get too upset about the regular S6 not having waterproofing because the last 2 years or whatever they had the active version.
This thing is butt ugly.
It looks like it has a Spigen case on the back.
It is so rugged. I mean, active to me when you say active, I think oh, it's got little rubber baby bumpers on it or something. But this is a tank. It looks. It even has camo. It's got camo design.
So for the S5, the active was AT&T, and then they did the Sport for Sprint. I guess they're gonna do that again this year. The same kind of deal.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure AT&T has some sort of exclusivity on it. It'll be interesting to see if they actually redesign it at all for Sprint. But
I can't believe there's a demand for this.
I don't know if there is, but Samsung doesn't care. They don't need there to be a demand. They just
There's a demand for it. How do you think OtterBox exists?
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean every time you write about it, people are like, yeah, I like the active. The problem was with the original the S5 active and all those is that Samsung treated them as a completely different device, even though they pretty much had. I mean, they were identical in every single way to the original versions, but software updates and stuff. People were waiting for the active versions to get, what was it back then, KitKat or whatever, forever after the originals got it. So it's that's the one thing that has me kind of leery on it. I actually liked the design of the S5 Active. I thought it looked kind of cool. It was a little metal, still very slim, super slim. But this thing, it's got camo. Literally, it's got camo. It's like a Call of Duty phone. It looks ridiculous. Big old physical buttons on it. Rubber bumpers.
It really looks like you had one of those. Didn't you have a Spigen tough case that you were given?
Yeah, I think one of them kind of looks
just
very
like
similar.
It has that case on it.
Yeah, and I don't mind the whole. To me, that design of the little screws being exposed and all that. I think that looks cool. It reminds me of Japanese anime, these Gundam.
It looks really industrial.
Yeah, that look I kind of do dig, but I don't like it when it makes the phone completely huge, and the camo really just bothers me on it, I think. But other than that, I mean, it's got a huge battery. It's supposed to have a 3,500 milliamp hour battery, so battery life should be drastically improved over the regular S6 models, and that's kind of awesome.
It doesn't have the fingerprint sensor either.
Yeah, and they got rid of the fingerprint sensor in the home button. Which, I mean, I don't know why you would have to do that, but yeah, they didn't include that.
Your hands are going to be dirty because you're rugged.
It's a trade-off, I guess. Yeah, your hands are going to be all muddy because you're traveling through.
You can't do a fingerprint scanner when
traveling cross country on your mountain bike.
All right, so we got a live question here we'll get to before we go to our wins and fails. A name that I'm not even going to try to pronounce asks, what do you guys think about the rumored Note 5 UHD display? UHD, what is that?
Ay, caramba. That's Ultra. That's 4K. 4K now. So we're moving from 2K to 4K.
We need a 4K display on a smartphone.
As the owner of a G3, I think it's super unnecessary.
I think it's a little unnecessary, but I'm not totally opposed to it. But I think we haven't even had...
My TV's not 4K, man.
We haven't had 2K long enough to even start making the jump to 4K.
Chris, let's be honest. The battery life on a phone that has a UHD display is not going to be anywhere near what you need it to be.
Yeah, I mean you have a point there, but I mean I think for like the notes, like when your phone is huge, it's overkill. It's
2K, 2K.
I think 4K on a tablet, on a big tablet would be cool, but I think when you go to like phablets, anything above 5 inches, 2K, anything below 5 inches is like 1080p, and like that should be how you do it. But
maybe 4K on a 10-inch tablet.
Yeah. I know I would see it because I can tell you right now that moving from like the Galaxy S6 back to like the HTC One M9, which I tried for an entire week, but we'll get into that in my wins and fails. I could see the difference. It's ruined my eyes. Like I can see 1080p now. I could never do that before, but like now I can look at a phone right away and I can tell you that's 720p, that's 1080p. Oh, that's 2K for sure. Like I can see it now. It's
Oh my god.
Well, we all know that you have very special eyes.
Yeah.
It's spoiled. Once you've been spoiled.
Pixel vision.
Pixel vision.
That's like if you were a superhero, that would be like your superpower. Like I can see the pixels
from a mile away. He can tell you the resolution of the display.
That pixel vision.
That's great. All right, for the last time, Kevin, give us your win and fail of the week.
That's really sad.
My wins and fails. So because it's a special occasion, I'm going to get a little bit cheesy, and my win is going to be the Mobile Roar podcast.
Yeah.
Not just this week, but that's it's been a lot of fun being on the podcast. A train. We've been we've gone through a few shakeups in the lineup. Oh, that's a very loud train. We've gone through some changes in the lineup, and we've gone through so many episodes, and we've seen a lot of cool stuff, talked about a lot of cool tech. So it's just been really awesome being a part of it. So total win. Cool to see Ashley's on the show now. It's been great being on the show with Joe and Chris and all the people that listen and give us questions and interact with us in emails and stuff. It's been really cool. So that's my win. My fail is also going to be Mobile Roar podcast related. I'm really bummed that I'm not going to make it to episode 100. We're going to, end today.
So close, I know.
We're at episode 93. Is that what this is?
92.
Oh, man.
92. And not going to live to see. I'll probably be alive, but.
Jeez, I'm going to say.
I won't even live to see it. All right.
What's going to happen on this bike trip? Jeez.
No. Maybe I'll try to call in for episode 100, but yeah. But yeah, so like Joe said, it is bittersweet, but it'll be exciting to go try some new things. But so that's it. I mean, I hope that the podcast continues on past episode 100, and I'll look forward to participating as a listener and a viewer.
Cool. My win of the week is going to be a crazy gadget. I think it's on Indiegogo. It's called Physics, and it makes beer taste better. It basically, I don't know. Do you guys agree that beer out of a tap tastes better than like a bottle or a can?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
Good.
I think my ranking, and I'll take this to like soda too. I mean, but like if you have like can, and then can is like my least popular choice, then bottle, then tap in that order.
Yeah, you're right. It does qualify for soda too.
Yeah.
So yeah, this thing called Physics, you actually just put a can in this machine, and then you like put a tube in the can and close it up or whatever, and it pumps the beer out into your glass, and then you flip a switch, and it actually will put a head on the top of your beer with like tiny, tiny bubbles that you get out of a tap, and it's supposed to make the beer taste really good. Like they say, you can put a cheap beer in there, and it dramatically makes it taste better. So put like a natty light in there, and maybe it'll taste a little better.
Wow, we were really cheap.
What is this? What is this called?
It's called Physics, Fizzics, and I believe it's on Indiegogo, not Kickstarter.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, this looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. If I was someone that drank a ton of beer at home, which I'm not, I would consider getting one of those.
Yeah,
I like to have just a bottle. Like I used to have like maybe a bottle when I get off work. That's it. I don't really like go hard.
it kind of looks like the Keurig of beer.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. It's just really cool. I watched a video on it, and you literally just like, when you want to put a head on the top of your beer, you just like flip a switch, and then the tiny little bubbles of head come out. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's cool.
What? That's weird.
So that's cool thirsty. If you like beer.
I'm all thirsty. I think I need a beer
Which,
right now.
everyone likes beer. Well, most people like beer. My fail of the week is going to be this woman who got fired because she disabled an app on her phone that was put there by her employer, and the app tracked her every move. And she disabled this app, and she got fired for it, which is insane to me. Like, number one, why did this? I don't know who she's worked for.
I was going to say, what kind of company did she work for?
I didn't read the entire article, which is something I say on this podcast all the time. I attempt to talk about these things, and then I don't read about the whole thing. But anyway, yeah, the app was like tracking her every move, and I just don't understand that, and it seems like a horrible thing to fire someone over.
Was it like a work? I'm guessing it was like a company phone, and
I mean, if she had a job where she was like a traveling salesperson or something, I guess I could see something like that being legit.
You gotta see like where.
But if she was just somebody working in an office and happened to have an app, that's kind of crazy.
So she worked at a money transfer firm, and the app was to monitor employees while off duty.
While off duty?
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah, that's
that's
no
a
bueno.
lawsuit. That's a lawsuit for sure.
Yeah. So we probably haven't heard the end of that, but that's definitely a fail right there. All right, Chris, what do you got?
My wins and fails for the week. Let's see, what's my win? Oh yeah, my win is going to be Android M. There's a rumor from, I think it was like Forbes, those big whatever's sites. Apparently, Android M, one of the big features is that it's going to, first of all, I think it's always funny when you talk about next versions of Android, because for the past couple of years now, people are just always like, what else can Google do? My phone already does a lot. I can go on the internet. What else can they do? But there's always ways to improve software, and that's why I always get so excited around Google I/O, because I'm like, what are they going to do to improve my life? Like, I can't wait to see what they do. And
well, you don't even like Lollipop that much, so you're probably hoping you change a lot.
I despise Lollipop, to be honest. But so Android M, I'm more than excited about. I think it'll be called Marshmallow, but I guess that's still up for debate.
Is that just your opinion, or is that like the rumor? I haven't heard anything.
No, there's nobody knows at all. I don't think even Google knows right now. They'll probably just decide on that later. But I'm sure internally it'll probably be called Marshmallow, just to make things easy. But file name could be whatever they want it to be. But yeah, so it's going in. They're going to allow you to block permissions on certain applications. No one really knows how they're going to implement it or how well they're going to implement it, but it might just be on specific apps. This might be something the developer will allow you to do on some applications. But things like location or access to your photos and things like that, you can just tell the app, no, I don't want to give you permission to do that. So it's probably going to be similar to the way iOS kind of handles it, I'm guessing. And it's probably just going to be like a couple major categories, like location, pictures, and maybe like your call logs or something like that. Like on iOS right now, every time you download an app that's like, needs to see your photos or is a camera app or something like that, it always asks you, like, this app wants to access your microphone. Do you want to give it permission? And you're just like, yeah, yes or no.
So kind of like how it works on a computer.
Yeah, very similar to that. Yeah, and it makes sense. I get it. But at the same time, I think that this is probably going to A lot of developers will probably get hit with a lot of 1-star reviews, like they always do, but it's just another thing for them to get hit with a 1-star review because people are going to be like, download a gallery app and it's going to say, this thing wants to look at your photos. No, I don't want it to look at my photos. And then the whole app is broken. It doesn't even work correctly. So.
And then they give it a 1-star review because it doesn't work.
It's just trash, and they go and they give it a 1-star review. So it'll be
It doesn't
interesting
even
to see
show
how
my
they do this.
photos.
But I mean, I think this would be really awesome, especially for like Facebook, because I don't really. The Facebook app annoys me. Not so much for like a privacy issue, which I mean, this is kind of the whole reason why they're creating this feature, but more or less just like the battery drain, because it's always pinging my phone for its location. It's always, I mean, all the stuff updating in the background and things like that. So I would love to have this like extra control over what these applications can do, just to kind of preserve or just prolong my battery life, especially in the Galaxy S6 because it sucks so bad. But,
it would really be interesting because, like you said, you know, people. How are they going to prevent people from disabling things that break the app?
Yeah, it's like CyanogenMod's been doing it for a long time, and they had an interesting way of doing it because they would spoof data. So if there was like a application that needed to see like your call logs or something like that, they would just create like dummy data for it, so it wouldn't break the app because to block those specific permissions, the app would just like force close. It's like I can't do this, bang, it kills itself. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Google actually implements this. It's actually pretty cool. I'm sure they probably got this idea from CyanogenMod, like so many features in Android. So that's my win. My fail for the week, and I hate to say this, and it pains me to say it because not that I'm a fanboy, but what the HTC One M9. I think it's the worst phone ever.
Wow. Wow. Those are harsh words.
I mean, not ever, but it's so much of a fail that like I tell a lot of people now, like just don't
bother with it.
Don't even bother with it.
Here's
I
that
mean,
guy now.
You heard it here. Chris is the reason that BlinkFeed is getting ads. He tells people not to buy the phone.
All Chris's
so
loyal
bad.
HTC followers didn't buy the phone, and now HTC's like, oh my gosh, we got to make some money somewhere.
I was trying. So last week I tried to give the HTC. There was an HTC Elevate meetup. So they had a meetup, and I went to go to this little bar, and they give you free food and like taquitos and finger foods and stuff. It was awesome. But
You're never going to be invited again.
Yeah, I hope it was awesome because it's the last time you're going.
In order to like prepare myself for this event, I'm like, I'm going to use the HTC One M9, and this way, like when I'm there, I'm using the One M9 to take pictures and do all this stuff. So like pretty much the whole last week, I was using the One M9, and it was a really, really painful process. Like it was just like the screen is terrible on it. The speakers don't sound as good as last year's. It's just battery life is so, and the phone was always hot. And I think it was just really the camera that really bothered me because I was trying to, if you guys are friends with me on like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram and all that, I took a picture of the little HTC trinket they gave us. It was like this little metal Android figurine. And I was trying to take a picture with the One M9 and I couldn't do it. It wouldn't focus. When it was focused, it was like I had to be far away from it. And the exposure was all weird, and the camera's all wigging out. I didn't even know what the heck to do. So I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm done. I'm done with this phone. And I go and I grab my S6, immediately just put the camera up to it, like so close. Like you could see every little detail. And it just, boom, takes this perfect photo, like the most amazing photo that I've ever taken with like a smartphone. I posted online, and everyone's commenting about how, like, wow, that's a great looking photo. And I'm just like, yep, it is. I'm done with the One M9. I can't do it anymore. So that's going to be my fail. Yeah, don't even bother with that phone. But there are rumors.
That's crazy because like the M8 was your go-to. You tried a million different phones, and you always ended up going back to the M8.
Every time. But yeah, now with like the M9, I can see like the viewing angles on the display are horrible. The black levels or
can you see the pixels?
Is terrible. Yeah, and now I can see 1080p pixels, so now it's just ridiculous. It's such a I'm just so fed up with that phone. Like I don't even want to touch it anymore. It's just it's bad. But yeah, there's rumors that because the M9 was such just a small little step, that HTC could push up the release of the M10 to the very end of this year to get a jump on everyone else. So that'll be interesting.
It's about the MX.
in 1 year?
Yeah, they might do it. got the back against the wall. I don't think anyone's buying the 1M9, and for good reason. For real good reason. But yeah, so that was my fail.
All right. So Ashley, for the first time, wins and fails from you. Let's see what you got.
Ooh.
So you guys used to have Edgar on the podcast, and he was really excited about LG phones.
Yes, he
And
was.
I have to say that I am also excited about LG phones. So my win for the week is that there are rumors that LG will be producing a Nexus 5. And I think that's awesome. I mean,
Again?
the top rumors so far have been that Huawei was supposed to produce the Nexus, and that might still happen, but I think the first Nexus 5 that LG did was the best of the Nexus line. I mean, the Nexus 6 is way too big.
Yeah,
it's huge.
I completely agree with you. I have both the Nexus 5 and the Nexus 6, and I love the Nexus 5. I use the Nexus 6 just because it has better battery life, but I like the size and everything of the Nexus 5 so much
Nexus
more.
5 is my favorite, like size-wise and like the whole soft touch. It's so easy to grip, and it's the perfect size phone. I love the Nexus 5.
That battery life, though. Oh.
Battery life is, and camera. To me, I think the thing that really bothers me about the Nexus 5, because I was trying to use it for a little while, but is the speaker. The speaker is just, I can't ever hear anything, and it's always squawking, and like, it's just terrible speaker. But that's interesting. That's interesting because, I mean, it's a pretty hard rumor that Huawei is going to make one of the next Nexuses. I mean, I guess there could always be two, right? But like, yeah, we've heard that. I've heard from like Samsung reps, or not Samsung, Huawei reps and stuff that we're making it, bro. Get hyped. And it's like, what? Okay, it's interesting.
So actually, you said that you are using the G3, right?
Yep, I have the G3 right now. I went from the G2, and before I had the G2, I had the Optimus. So
I like
the
G3 looks amazing, and like the size is actually really good too. But I don't know how. Like, what do you hate about the G3? What is it like really lacking?
Probably battery life is the biggest problem. Going from the G2, which had great battery life, like I could get a day and a half without charging.
Yeah.
I always have to charge the G3, and it's because of that display where I can't see the pixels, but I pay for it with battery life.
Yeah. Do you think you're gonna get the G4?
Yeah, I think I will. I mean, I know I'm excited about the Nexus 5. I may wait, because, I mean, the G4 still doesn't have a release date yet, which is really weird.
It is weird.
Like, they showed off the phone, they're like, here it is. There's no pricing info, no release date.
And they let everyone review it.
Yeah,
here's a review. Well, they gave everyone Korean units, which was the weirdest thing.
Here's a device, you can play around with it, and then all these reviews start getting posted, and they're like, oh, no, that's a production device. Really?
Oh, no, it's just prototype. It's just prototype.
Anyway, I really hope that LG does consider doing a Nexus 5, because I feel like out of all the companies that Google has partnered with, they are probably the most suited to produce a Nexus that people will actually enjoy.
Yeah, for sure.
But my biggest fail is something that we've already talked about. The Verizon buys AOL. Ooh. Yeah, big concerns there. I'm really afraid that the way that they were with because they've had a website before, I forget the name of it, but they had writers that they were actually censoring. They wouldn't let them write about net neutrality. And I'm thinking, if Engadget is one of the biggest tech blogs in the world, and what if they don't let them write about net neutrality or whatever else comes up? I mean, are they going to censor them?
Anytime you read an article now on Engadget or TechCrunch or whatever that is about something Verizon did, you're always going to have that thought in your head, like, are they saying this? If they're saying something positive, are they saying this because Verizon owns them?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no one really says anything positive about Verizon.
So we'll know if they.
You'll know immediately. But I mean, that's the thing. When you're a writer and stuff, there's ways you can kind of skew your writing. You're like, okay, I'm not going to be as hard. I'll just be like, just kind of whatever, beat around the bush. But it'll be weird to see. Yeah, because I mean, there's huge. Those websites are they're huge, man. TechCrunch and all that.
They're huge, man. All right, so let's move on to our app picks. Kevin.
My app pick is going to be Bleak. This launch. It's Bleep. It's a new messenger. First of all, a messaging app from BitTorrent, actually, which is interesting. The people behind BitTorrent have devised Bleep. It's been in beta, I think, for a while, so
Yeah.
it's not totally new. But this was like it got its widespread public launch for iOS and Android just yesterday, I think. So what's interesting and different about Bleep is of course, you can have messaging back and forth with your friends, text messaging. You can voice call, and I think there's video chat in there as well. But there's two things that make Bleep unique. One is that it's super secure. The messages are sent over an encrypted connection, so if you're really concerned about privacy or people hacking intercepting your messages or whatever, everything's encrypted. The other cool feature is this thing called Whispers, which is sort of a Snapchat-style messaging where you can send photos or messages, and once they're read, they will disappear.
That's awesome.
And the app also blocks people from being able to screenshot those conversations and whatever is shared in a whisper. So you can have a regular message thread, and then you can pop out into a whisper to just say something and let it disappear right after you're done. So it's a messaging app that's really focused on privacy and security. So I think it's kind of a cool take on messaging. So we've got a lot of messaging apps already, but this has some promise, and the design looks pretty nice too, and I like it.
I just downloaded it. I don't know who my
Sounds like
message.
real
but-
Chris.
Just
Chris
gonna be
always
me.
does that during the app picks. He downloads the apps that we talk about.
Yeah,
I don't know if he ever actually uses them.
I mean, I have there's 300 apps on my phone right that I've downloaded, and now I should probably start cleaning them out.
Did you ever play the game that I recommended last week?
Oh no, I downloaded it.
Yeah,
I didn't play it.
exactly.
I just saw like there was an update to it, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I downloaded that app. Yeah, it's funny.
Okay, so my app pick is an Android app called App Chat, and this app turns any app that you have installed on your phone into a chat room, basically.
I saw that. That's funny.
Yeah, so you open this app, and it just shows like a list of all the apps that you have installed on your phone, and then you tap on one of them, and it's just a chat room with other people who have that app installed and also App Chat. And so then you can just basically a big chat room. You just share high scores, screenshots, whatever you want to do. And it's just, I don't know, it's kind of a cool way to talk to other people who have apps that you do. I feel like it's most useful for games, probably.
Yeah.
If you want to, I don't know, maybe share strategies or stuff like that. But yeah, it's kind of a cool idea.
It was weird to hear the idea at first because I'm like, that's kind of cool, but why would you just want to talk to random people that are just But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like every app is its own community in a way.
I mean,
So
you're probably not going to use it for like the Twitter app or the Facebook.
Oh
app,
yeah, yeah.
but like
on Hangouts.
the example that
Who's
they use.
chatting on Hangouts?
Yeah, the example they use in the screenshots in the Play Store is Crossy Road, and that would be cool.
Yeah,
Just
like, hey
that's-
guys, I can't pass this level.
Yeah,
Someone got any tips? Like, don't get hit by the cars.
in a game like that, you can whenever you die, like it gives you the option to share a screenshot, so you could like share the screenshots in the chat room and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool.
Pretty neat.
All right, Chris, what do you got?
My app pick's gonna be Flickr 4.0. So last week, Flickr redesigned their app and their online site again, like always. It's almost every single year in April-ish, May they do this.
They gotta stay relevant.
It's crazy. It's crazy because it's every single time we write about it and it's like it's completely redesigned. It's awesome. The app looks gorgeous, and then everyone downloads it and no one ever uses it again. So that's kind of I think the deal now. But it's really cool now. I promise. And you might actually want to use it. So a terabyte of storage to upload all your photos and videos, which is really cool. They added auto backup, which is super handy. And then they have these crazy search functions that are able to search by color. They can search by like landmarks, like they know things. They have these weird, crazy algorithms and whatnot. And what was the other cool feature? Search that and auto backup. Oh, and duplicate images. If you're backing up duplicates, it knows and it won't back up that duplicate image. So it's pretty darn cool. And it's neat. It's more like Instagram now than it ever was before, so that's kind of cool too. Like when you share photos with people and you have a little photo stream that you can go through, which I like as well. The resolution on these photos is way better than Instagram. You don't have that horrible quality when you upload them, so it's cool. It's got a lot of good things going for it, but we'll have to see if anyone actually ends up using it. I don't think I have any real friends on there yet, but yeah, Flickr 4.0. Download it.
All right. And I have to say I'm very excited about Ashley's app picks every week because, as you guys know, Ashley is really good at recommending apps. I seriously have used so many apps that Ashley has recommended us just as colleagues, so we should get some good picks here. No pressure, Ashley.
Just go back.
Thanks,
Go
Joe.
back
My app pick this week is actually available on both iOS and Android. It's called Dungeon Raid by Firefly Games, and at first it looks just like a match 3 game, but it's actually a little bit deeper than that. When you first play, you pick a class that you want to start as. Like if you've played traditional role-playing games, there's like Paladin and Sorcerer and things. So you pick your class, and then you start doing your match 3, and depending on what you match, you can do attacks, you can get money to spend in the store, or you can regain some of your health or mana potions. And it's a really great way to pass time. Like if you have 15 minutes in between an appointment or something, I always pull it out and play it. It's really fun.
Cool. All right, a couple questions to get to here before we close out. Kevin, this one will go to you. Is the LG G4 camera good enough to replace DSLR?
Is the LG G4 camera good enough to replace a
How would anyone even
DSLR?
say that?
I mean, honestly, if you and I mentioned this, I've seen some reviews that go as far as saying that it does rival a DSLR in image quality. I didn't go so far in my own review. I think it makes it it gets pretty close, and the fact that you can save the raw images and edit them. So if you're someone that likes to edit photos, and you can get that raw image, you get a really decent base image to work with. So you can, with some editing in Photoshop of the raw image file, yeah, you can get pretty close to DSLR-like results. But just snapping around, if you're just someone that likes to snap photos, yeah, it's not going to be totally DSLR quality. But like any smartphone camera, in the right lighting and if you take some time to like compose the photo properly, you can get some pretty dang impressive results with the G4 camera. And I mean, I would say it's one of the better smartphone cameras available right now, or not available yet, but it's around. So yeah, that would be my answer.
All right, and then someone else said, I'd prefer milkshake over marshmallow for the Android M name.
Me too.
And I have to say, Google does have a history of frozen desserts. Froyo, ice cream sandwich, milkshake.
But those are all kind of solid, right? I mean,
How about Android marzipan?
Yeah, I think that one.
It could be. You never know. I mean, they've gone really abstract with like honeycomb.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
marshmallow is a staple.
So are milkshakes.
What the heck is a marzipan? I don't know what that is.
And then we had we have an email question from Daquan Johnson. He emailed us last week too. He's trying to pick out a new tablet. He has the 2012 Kindle Fire HD, but he doesn't like it. So he's looking for suggestions for tablets and Android tablets. And I don't know, it's kind of slim pickings right now. I always just say Nexus 7 because that's just my favorite tablet. I love the size.
I think it really depends on like what you want to use the tablet for.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at recommending tablets because I just don't bother with them. But
yeah.
Like the Nexus 7 was been a good pick, and that came out in 2013. But I think I was reading online that some of them are just having complete hardware failures. It's just like they're bricking themselves out of nowhere. I don't know if that's Lollipop or a hardware thing, but it's kind of disheartening. And then the Nexus 9, which is the newest Nexus, that's got a bunch of weird problems too. So it's kind of tough to recommend like a Google Nexus tablet.
Actually, sorry to interrupt you.
No, no.
I was gonna say I did get a chance to use one of those newer. I think they're called LG G pads,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and I think it was like an 8-inch model or something. That was pretty nice, and I think you can get those pretty cheap. That might be an option.
Yeah, the LG ones, those are good. There's a like an 8-inch, the Dell Venue 8 7000.
Oh yeah, that one looks really cool.
Weirdest name, but 8
Doesn't it have like the camera in a weird place
The
too?
camera's in the bottom
Yeah.
right
Everything is
corner because
kind
there's
of
like
odd about it. It's got this huge, little like bottom bezel. I'm sure you
Yeah.
could flip it around the other way. I'm sure it has like an auto rotate thing or whatever. But
there's no bezels around like 3 sides of it basically.
yeah, 3 sides of it. So it's kind of like that Sharp Aquos phone,
Yeah.
but like in tablet form. But it's supposed to be really good. Specs are really nice. It's about $400 if you're looking for something like a little more on the high end. I think Edgar had this for a while, and he was like absolutely raving about it. But it's got 2K display. I mean, I think it's got 3D cameras in the back or some kind of weird dual setup or something. But really, really good. And I think it just got upgraded to Lollipop, if I remember correctly. Or Dell just said that they're about to update it. So definitely consider that one. That's actually a really cool one.
Sorry if that wasn't much help, but there are a
Yeah.
lot of tablets out there.
Dell Venue 8 7000. Yeah.
All right, so just to wrap things up, I think we know the answer to this. What phone is Chris using?
S6 again.
Okay, that has been boring lately.
But just by a hair, though, because if you would have caught me like a couple days ago, I was using the 1M9. And
The
hated it.
reason we have that in the podcast actually is, of course, because Chris changes phones like,
Of course.
and he always says that he's going to stick with the phone and rarely does. So just to keep him honest, we're asking him every week. All right, so Kevin, any closing thoughts?
Any closing thoughts? Oh, this is like the last.
This is it.
I'm about
This
to
is the
wrap
farewell, man.
The final goodbye. No, again, it's just been awesome being on the podcast. Thanks to everyone who has listened and supported the podcast and sent in your questions and interacted with us. And for those that read everything on Phandroid, thanks for reading and thanks for being in some small way part of my life over the past 5 years. But now I'm on to other things, and I know the podcast is in good hands. Mobile Roar. With Joe and Chris and Ashley. So good luck to you guys, and hopefully I'll be seeing you at some point in the future. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool.
Well,
Thanks.
and good luck to you
Thank
in
you.
your trip. So without further ado, if you'd like to email us, you can use our address podcast@mobileroar.com. You can subscribe to the audio version of the podcast on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and pretty much everywhere else. Give us a review if you subscribe to us somewhere else. You can follow the show on Twitter @MobileRoarcast, and you can follow us on Twitter. Chris is @GamerCore. Kevin is You Don't Know Kev, and if you're interested in Kevin's bike trip, make sure to follow him on Twitter. He's going to be posting a lot there
Yes.
during that journey. You could follow Ashley on Twitter @OverlordRoar. Roar is spelled without an A. And I am @TallSchmo. And we will see you guys next week. Later.
Later.